Welcome back. It is The Angle of Pursuit on ESPN 970 WFUN. I'm your host, Ryan Lencl, and joining us now is a very special guest on the hotline, the voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Paul Keels. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Really glad that you could join us today. I know getting towards the top of the hour here, I want to jump right in and ask you some questions. First up, I was looking through your bio, and I got to hit you with a very tough journalistic question right out of the gate, all right?
All right, sure.
Is it true that you were you called football and basketball for the University of Michigan?
That is absolutely true. I did that for 6 years back in the 1980s, and it was kind of a unique situation. At that time, Michigan did not grant exclusive rights. So there were 5 stations that did football and 3 that did basketball, and I worked for one of those that carried most of it. So, and as I like to tell people, I trained with a minor league team to get ready for a major league team. But no, seriously, all joking aside, it was kind of odd being an Ohio native and having followed Ohio State as a kid. But the great thing out of it was during the time when Bo Schembechler was still coaching Wolverine. So it gave me a great perspective of Bo Schembechler's appreciation for the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry.
Well, I find it really fascinating because when you start to dig in and you do a little bit of research, you find out a guy like yourself who is really the face to many people of Ohio State athletics. For you to have that background, I think, is really fascinating.
Well, it gives me a great appreciation. Like I said, there was some good basketball in Ann Arbor at the time, and it always was a little odd when I had to do games with Michigan and Ohio State, but you do what you have to do for your job, right?
Absolutely. Oh, and I was looking at your career and being in radio myself. Trust me, I had a lot of respect for all the crisscrossing that you did, and you've obviously put in the work. What do you prefer, football or basketball?
You know what? Everybody asks that, Ryan, and what my answer to it is I like having the opportunity to do both and being able to change from one sport to the other. It's just kind of nice to be able to do that. I know it's been important to our company to have one person do both because it was a split situation before I got to WBNS Radio in Columbus. But it's nice being able to do both. It gives you the opportunity to be around the coaches and athletes of each particular sport. So I can't say that I prefer one over the other.
Joining us is Paul Keels, the voice of the Buckeyes, on our hotline. Talking about that split, we're going to talk more about basketball today. Ohio State has been a football powerhouse for so long, and Thad Matta's done a great job with the basketball program, sort of returning it to the highest of its previous heights. Has he moved the needle at all? Is this any closer to being sort of a basketball school or at least even interest?
It's funny you asked that, Ryan, because that was a question that kind of came up back in the summer when all of the off-the-field poor headlines were surrounding Ohio State football. I think what Thad Matta has done and his coaches is they've made Ohio State basketball more than just an afterthought. They've made it a real premier piece of the sports landscape, not only just in Columbus but in the state of Ohio. And at times you used to see the November and December games were not that well attended. Well, that's changed a little bit. And, the university deserves some credit for some of the changes they made in the Value City Arena with putting students down on the floor. But I think football's always going to be king, but certainly basketball has really carved out its pretty significant spot with what's going on right now.
Absolutely. He's done a terrific job, too, of recruiting. I almost think that we've become a little spoiled. You see how great those recruiting classes are, and so much hype comes with them. It feels like because they don't make it to the Final Four every year, it's a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, that is the problem with success, and a lot of people were disappointed that last year's basketball team didn't make it to the Final Four, and one of the intangibles you thought that would help them get there was their senior leadership. And it's something they don't have a lot of this year, which is maybe a question that hangs over this team. But, when they got to the championship game in 2007, they had that great assemblage of talent, both young and upper-class players. It really showed you how well things can go when you get good depth, you get good talent, and they all work and play together. So I think that Thad Matta has raised the bar. He understands that, and he certainly puts pressure on he and his coaches to continue to recruit at the level that they have.
Some people have talked a little bit, there's no question about him as a recruiter. Some people have talked a little bit about his, I don't know if it's a lack of desire or an inability to go beyond 7 guys. He kind of develops that rotation, and people think that would be better for the tournament. Do you see it that way?
Well, I think we've seen a little more going deeper this year than maybe what he's done in the past or what we thought he might do this year. I mean, if you think back to that team of 2007, that was a team that was very deep. I mean, they went to the bench with guys like, you had Matt Terwilliger on that team. You had Ron Lewis, Ivan Harris, all of the group that started, and they could go pretty deep on that basketball team. I remember David Lighty came off the bench and was kind of their defensive stopper as a true freshman. This year, you've seen a little more depth, and some of it has come because of injury. Evan Ravenel, who transferred from Boston College, got some significant time when Jared Sullinger was out. I think because of foul trouble and other situations, we've seen Shannon Scott get some time and seem more comfortable out there on the basketball court. J.D. Weatherspoon is a guy that has shown that he can give them some quality minutes in a tight game when they need to, as well as Sam Thompson, a freshman. Jordan Seibert, who's a sophomore, has been out there at significant points in time. A lot of it, the company line from Thad Matta, and there's something to it, has to do with matchups in the game situation. But I think as you've seen this year, they have maybe gone a little deeper than what they've done in the past.